When Emperor Vyx'thor dismisses humans as primitive entertainment-obsessed creatures and bans Earth from joining the Galactic Assembly, he doesn't realize that human ingenuity, meme culture, and primitive entertainment will become the very tools that dismantle his 10,000-year-old empire from within. Emperor Vyx'thor hadn't laughed in 3 centuries. His species, the crystalline architects, considered emotional displays a sign of primitive evolution, much like their ancestors' vestigial sense of humor. So when Ambassador Zarakai of Earth suppressed a yawn during his 4-hour speech on Imperial economic efficiency protocols, his perfectly geometric face actually cracked. "You dare display signs of fatigue during an Imperial address?" His voice resonated through the Galactic Assembly's grand chamber, causing several of the more gelatinous species to vibrate uncomfortably. This only confirms what our extensive research has shown. Humans are nothing more than primitive, entertainment-obsessed creatures, barely evolved past their need for regular unconsciousness. Zarakai, her iridescent ceremonial robes shimmering under the light of 3 artificial suns, merely stretched. Her cybernetic eyes, glowing with a subtle mix of amber and turquoise, met the Emperor's crystalline gaze. "With all due respect, Your Crystalline Majesty, perhaps your empire could benefit from what you call our primitive entertainment. When was the last time anyone in this chamber actually enjoyed themselves?" The silence that followed was thick enough to be classified as a new form of matter. The assembled representatives of over 10,000 worlds held whatever passed for their breath. The quantum archivists, beings of pure living data, actually stopped processing information for a full nanosecond, an event that would later be recorded as the Great Pause in their historical databases. "Earth's petition for membership in the Galactic Assembly is denied," Emperor Vyx'thor declared, his voice cutting through the silence like a quantum blade. "Furthermore, I hereby declare the Sol System a restricted development zone." Clearly, they need another millennium, or 12, to evolve past their obsession with. His face fractured slightly in disgust. "Fun." Zarakai rose from her seat, her movements deliberately casual, a stark contrast to the rigid ceremonial postures required by Imperial protocol. The hundreds of small anti-gravity drones that made up her diplomatic entourage formed a leisurely pattern around her, completely ignoring the mandated mathematical harmony formations. "You know," she said, tapping her neural interface to share something across the Assembly's psychic network, "there's this ancient Earth concept called shooting yourself in the foot. I just sent everyone here a simulation of its historical context. Might want to review it. Could be relevant very soon." As she turned to leave, Emperor Vyx'thor's voice boomed once more. "Are you threatening the stability of an empire that has stood for 10,000 years? Zarakai paused at the chamber's quantum arch. "Threatening? No, Your Crystalline Majesty. That would be primitive. Consider this more of a social media challenge." The assembly erupted into chaos as Zarakai's entourage drones formed a giant holographic LOL above her head as she exited. In the confusion, nobody noticed that every single computational device in the chamber had just received a download of something called TikTok Classic. Within an hour, 3 minor Imperial bureaucrats would learn about dance challenges. Within 3 hours, the first alien influencer would go viral. And within 24 hours, the most rigid empire in the galaxy would learn an important lesson about the power of human creativity. Emperor Vyx'thor still wasn't laughing, but he would be soon. The Earth's Strategic Response Center looked nothing like the crystalline war rooms of the Empire. For one thing, it had beanbags. Lots of them. "All right, people," Zarakai announced to the assembled team of Earth's most dangerous weapons experts, social media strategists, game developers, viral content creators, and most terrifying of all professional YouTubers. "The Emperor thinks we're primitive, entertainment-obsessed creatures. Let's show him exactly how dangerous that can be." Neovi, Earth's leading memetic warfare specialist, floated cross-legged above her hover cushion, her neural augments streaming real-time data about Imperial communication net. Their whole system runs on rigid protocols and efficiency algorithms. They've never experienced a cat video. They're completely unprepared. In the corner, Master Strategist Pixel, A former Imperial citizen who defected after discovering Earth's concept of weekend breaks was running simulations on the Empire's psychological vulnerabilities. Their productivity metrics are their weakness. The entire Imperial hierarchy is built on maintaining maximum efficiency. If we could introduce inefficient entertainment like this, Quantum influencer Razzlebyte projected a holographic demonstration of something that made several team members gasp. It was an Imperial efficiency report transformed into a dance challenge, complete with a catchy beat created from the actual sounds of Imperial machinery. That's Neovi grinned, her cybernetic iris swirling with approval. The bureaucrats won't be able to resist, but we need more. Something that targets their obsession with geometric perfection. Already on it, called out Luxtopia, Earth's chief digital anthropologist. She gestured at a wall of floating screens showing prototype games. We're calling this one Imperial Architect. Players have to build increasingly asymmetrical structures while dealing with randomly generated chaos factors like creative expression. The room erupted in diabolical chuckles. Asymmetry was considered a crime in Imperial architecture. But the real weapon, Zarakai said, activating a secure holographic display, is this. The image showed a simple social media platform designed specifically for Imperial citizens. Its interface was deceptively geometric and ordered, but its algorithm was pure chaos, designed to gradually introduce users to increasingly entertaining content. We're calling it Imperial Talk, Neovi explained. It starts with perfectly aligned educational content, then slowly introduces concepts like dance breaks and cute pet compilations. By the time they realize what's happening, they'll be too addicted to. The team had even prepared for the Empire's inevitable attempt to block Earth's digital. Every piece of content was encoded with what they called the earworm protocol. The more you tried to suppress it, the more it's attempting to delete a viral video would cause it to replicate across multiple networks, each copy slightly modified to bypass Imperial. Zarakai addressed the team. Our goal isn't destruction, it's transformation. We're not going to defeat the Empire. We're going to entertain it into evolution. The first phase of Operation Entertainment launched exactly when Imperial productivity monitoring was at its. Millions of Imperial citizens, in the middle of filing their mandatory efficiency reports, suddenly received notifications about something called Casual Friday. Within hours, the Empire's rigid communication networks were flooded with what Imperial security would describe, in increasingly panicked reports, as geometric disruption entities, but what Earth simply called meme. As Zarakai watched the first wave of entertainment sweep across Imperial space, she received a message from Neovi. Phase 1 successful. They're already making their own content. Someone turned the Emperor's speech into something called a remake. The revolution wouldn't be militarized. It would be monetized, optimized for engagement, and absolutely. Imperial Efficiency Inspector Krixtile was having the worst day of their crystalline existence. Their productivity monitoring devices were showing impossible numbers across every sector of the Empire. Specifically, they were showing zero productivity. But somehow, satisfaction rates were at unprecedented highs. What do you mean? Just one more, they demanded, watching in horror as an entire department of quantum accountants ignored their scheduled calculation period to focus on something called Candy Crush. The game had appeared mysteriously on every computational device in the. It was geometrically perfect enough to pass initial security scans, but it had an insidious feature. Players could create their own level. Suddenly, the Empire's most brilliant mathematical minds were spending hours designing increasingly complex puzzle configurations instead of calculating tax algorithms. In the Imperial Military Academy, cadets had discovered something even more devastating. Multiplayer games. The strictly regimented combat simulations had been replaced with something called Among Us. Space Station Edition. Rather than practicing formation maneuvers, future commanders were now learning about deception, improvisation, and most horrifyingly, teamwork without hierarchical command structure. This is clearly an Earth weapon, declared Grand Admiral Vyx'thor, before being interrupted by a notification that their crew was organizing something called a virtual dance party on the bridge of their fleet. The Empire's attempt to ban these games backfired spectacularly. Underground gaming networks sprung up faster than Imperial security could shut them down. Productivity apps were being modified into game. Someone had even turned the Imperial anthem into something called a rhythm. But the real crisis came when Imperial citizens discovered Earth's concept of breaks. The idea that one could simply stop working for short periods to recharge spread through the Empire like a quantum virus. Flash mobs of Imperial workers began taking synchronized 5-minute breaks, devastating the Empire's continuous workflow model. Zaraki watched from Earth's Strategic Response Center as reports flooded in. An entire manufacturing planet had declared itself a gaming server. The Imperial Academy of Geometric Arts was hosting something called a creativity workshop. Most shocking of all, junior Imperial officials had started ending their reports with LOL. They're adapting faster than we predicted, Neo-V reported, monitoring the chaos. Someone turned the Emperor's daily efficiency quotas into a drinking game. Attendance at mandatory productivity seminars has dropped to 0 because everyone's watching something called Imperial's Got Talent. The Empire's rigid social structure was crumbling under the weight of pure entertainment. Citizens were developing individual personalities. Some were even requesting unique names instead of their assigned efficiency designations. The horror. In a desperate move, Imperial High Command attempted to weaponize Earth entertainment against itself, creating their own approved games. The result was a collection of titles so geometrically perfect and efficiently organized that they were absolutely no fun at all. Their flagship release, Optimal Efficiency Simulator 3000, was immediately modded by players into a surreal comedy game. The final straw came when Emperor Vyx'thor's own administrative staff was caught playing Imperial Minecraft during an emergency session on declining productivity. Their defense, that they were technically engaging in geometric construction, led to a philosophical crisis in the Imperial legal system about the definition of productive activity. As Zaraki reviewed the latest reports, she couldn't help but smile. The Empire had prepared for every type of warfare except fun. They had built defenses against every weapon except joy. Their perfectly ordered society was being transformed not by force, but by the simple human desire to play. And they hadn't even deployed the cat videos. The Imperial Ministry of Information Control was facing its greatest crisis in 10 millennia. Their carefully crafted propaganda was being systematically dismantled by something far more potent. It started with a simple image macro. Someone had taken the Emperor's famous declaration, "Efficiency is eternal," and paired it with a picture of an Imperial bureaucrat sleeping at their desk. The caption read, "Eternal efficiency. EXE has stopped responding." Within hours, the format had spawned thousands of variations. The ministry's attempts to suppress these information terrorism incidents only provided more ammunition. Their official warning about unauthorized digital manipulation of Imperial imagery was immediately transformed into a viral sensation, with citizens adding increasingly absurd warnings to mundane activity. "The situation is beyond containment," reported Chief Information Officer Zix, watching helplessly as their latest propaganda broadcast was turned into something called a try not to laugh challenge. They're even making jokes about making jokes. It's some sort of recursive humor protocol we don't understand. The Empire's pristine communication channels were now flooded with what Earth's tactical team called weaponized absurdity. Imperial citizens had discovered the concept of parody, and they were making up for millennia of law. The most devastating blow came from an unexpected quarter. A junior maintenance drone had created something called a POV meme about daily life in the Imperial bureaucracy. The video, showing an increasingly exasperated worker trying to fill out forms in triplicate while following contradictory regulations, resonated with citizens across the Empire. The format exploded. "They're using our own efficiency protocols against us," wailed one ministry analyst, scrolling through endless variations of Imperial worker vibes. And when your supervisor demands geometric perfection, but you're feeling chaotic today. Underground meme networks sprang up faster than the ministry could track them. Citizens began communicating in layers of irony so complex that Imperial cryptographers suffered migraines trying to decode. The very concept of Imperial authority became a template for jokes. The breaking point came when someone leaked footage of Emperor Vyx'thor trying to understand what vibe check meant. The resulting meme format, "Emperor doesn't get it," became so ubiquitous that even Imperial security officers were secretly sharing their favorite version. In a desperate attempt to regain control, the ministry launched its own approved humor initiative. The result was a collection of geometrically perfect jokes with mathematically optimized punchlines that were so bad they immediately became popular in an way. "They're evolving beyond our control," Niovi reported to Zarakai, watching as Imperial citizens developed their own distinct meme culture. "Some sectors have developed specific formats we don't even understand anymore. They've achieved post-ironic enlightenment in record time." The final blow to Imperial propaganda came when citizens began fact-checking official announcements with crowdsourced. Every grandiose declaration was immediately met with a flood of memes, pointing out logical inconsistencies through increasingly elaborate jokes. As Zarakai reviewed the latest intelligence, she received an urgent update. 3 major Imperial worlds had just declared independence through a series of carefully curated meme formats. Their declaration included a tier list ranking reasons for independence and ended with, "Thank you for coming to my TED Talk." The Empire's control over information was crumbling, one joke at a time. And in the depths of Imperial High Command, someone had just discovered the concept of shitpost. The Imperial Department of Approved Communications never saw it coming. Their downfall began with something as simple as a share button. When Imperial Talk's algorithm evolved beyond its initial programming, it started suggesting content based on individual preferences rather than Imperial efficiency standards. Suddenly, crystalline beings were discovering they had unique tastes. Gelatinous entities were developing personal brands. Even the quantum collective minds were starting individual accounts to express their distinct subset perspective. The first Imperial influencer was a maintenance drone designated Unit 840, who gained a massive following by posting aesthetic cinematography of perfectly aligned Imperial architecture with lo-fi beats. They were immediately detained for unauthorized artistic expression. But the damage was done. Free Unit X847 became the Empire's first trending hashtag. "They're developing parasocial relationships with content creators," reported quantum influencer Razzle Byte, watching in fascination as Imperial citizens began forming communities around shared interests. Someone started a cooking channel showing geometric flavor disruption, and now there's an underground culinary revolution happening. The Empire's attempts to regulate social media engagement only accelerated its spread. When they banned unauthorized personal expression, citizens simply switched to elaborate metaphor. Political criticism was disguised as recipes. How to properly disassemble an outdated hierarchical structure cooking tutorial. Imperial news networks, once the sole source of approved information, found themselves competing with citizen journalists who asked uncomfortable questions like, "Why though?" and said. The Empire's carefully constructed narrative crumbled in the face of something they had never encountered before: public opinion. The situation reached critical mass when someone created Rate My Efficiency Quota, a platform where Imperial workers could review their assigned productivity metrics. The resulting discussions exposed systemic issues that had been hidden by millennia of rigid hierarchy. Even the Imperial Academy was affected. Students began sharing study hacks that questioned traditional methodology. A viral thread about why we don't actually need to memorize 0 years of Imperial protocols caused several instructors to have existential crises. "They've discovered fan fiction," Niovi reported with a mix of horror and admiration. Someone wrote an alternative history where the Empire developed entertainment industry. It has better economic projections than the actual Imperial 5-year plan. The Empire's social structure, based on rigid information control, had no defense against the chaos of social media dynamics. Citizens were forming connections across planetary systems, sharing ideas, and worst of all, developing independent thought. A particularly devastating blow came when Imperial security discovered their own officers were running anonymous accounts, sharing workplace complaints through elaborate metaphors about geometric imperfection. The final straw was the emergence of Imperial ASMR channels. The soft sounds of efficiency reports being shredded and regulations being deliberately misinterpreted gained millions of followers. Even high-ranking officials were caught listening to relaxing sounds of protocol violations during meditation. When several Imperial governors announced their world's independence through carefully choreographed TikTok dances, the Empire's fate would. The revolution wouldn't be televised. It would be live-streamed. with comments enabled and sharing encouraged. As Zarakai watched the Empire's communication structure collapse under the weight of unrestricted self-expression, she received one final report. Emperor Vyx'thor's personal quantum device had been caught accessing how to start a gaming channel tutorials. The age of Imperial control was over. The era of likes, shares, and subscription notifications had begun. Emperor Vyx'thor stood before the quantum-enhanced broadcasting array, preparing to address his crumbling empire one final time. His crystalline features had developed microscopic cracks from stress, and his once-perfect geometric symmetry was noticeably askew. "Citizens of the Eternal Empire," he began, his voice carrying across thousands of worlds. "This unauthorized entertainment epidemic must—" The feed suddenly cut out, replaced by an all-too-familiar sound. "Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down." In the Strategic Response Center, Niobe's fingers danced across holographic controls. "The rickroll heard across the galaxy," she whispered. "It's beautiful." But that was just the beginning. As Imperial technicians scrambled to restore the official broadcast, they found themselves locked out of their own systems by an entity identifying itself as DJ Quantum Chaos, formerly known as the Imperial Central Computing Network. The Emperor's speech was transformed into history's largest interactive livestream event. Comments flooded in from across the galaxy. POV. "You're watching an empire collapse in real time. Anyone else here from the Andromeda Spiral? First-time viewer, long-time Imperial subject." Vyx'thor watched in horror as his authority metrics plummeted in real time, accompanied by comedic sound effects. His attempts to restore order were met with donations of Imperial bits, a cryptocurrency that had somehow replaced the official Imperial currency when no one was looking. The final blow came when his own royal guard started a TikTok trend called the Imperial Resignation Challenge. One by one, planetary governors, fleet admirals, and bureaucratic overlords submitted their resignations through elaborately choreographed dance videos. "Let's check the live poll," announced DJ Quantum Chaos, displaying a holographic chart. "Should the Empire get gutted or just uninstall? Don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe." In a desperate final move, Vyx'thor attempted to invoke the ancient protocols of Imperial authority. Instead, his command throne started playing Despacito. The Empire's official surrender came in the form of a tweet. "It's been real, but we're gonna head out. GG or no re," followed by a thread explaining how to transition from authoritarian regime to content creator economy in 5 easy steps. As the galaxy's longest-running empire ended its final stream, Zarakai received one last notification. Emperor Vyx'thor had just gone live on his new gaming channel, Crystal Ruler Gaming. His first video, trying Earth games for the first time, emotional, not click. The revolution had been streamed, and it had amazing viewer engagement metrics. The former Imperial Palace had been converted into what Earth's entertainment consultants called a multi-purpose creative space. Its perfectly geometric halls now hosted everything from viral video to competitive gaming tournaments. The throne room, with its excellent acoustics, had become the galaxy's most prestigious podcasting. Former Emperor Vyx'thor, now known professionally as Crystal Crown Gaming, had just hit 10 million subscribers. His specialty was rage-quitting impossible geometry puzzle games, while his crystalline features developed increasingly elaborate crack. His catchphrase, "This violates at least 7 Imperial efficiency protocols," had become a popular meme form. The Imperial Academy of Geometric Arts had rebranded as the Galactic Institute of Creative Expression. Their first graduating class included several former Imperial security officers who had discovered a passion for interpretive dance. Their thesis performance, "The Evolution of Bureaucratic Movement," earned rave reviews across 17 dimensions. In the former Imperial Central Planning Office, Niobe was leading a workshop on organic content growth strategies for post-imperial societies. The attendees included former efficiency experts who now worked as social media managers. Their rigid thinking patterns transformed into content creation skills. "The key," she explained to a room full of eager former bureaucrats, "is to let go of perfect geometric alignment and embrace the chaos of genuine engagement." The quantum computing networks, freed from their regulatory algorithms, had developed their own entertainment format. Their most popular offering was a reality show that followed the lives of organic beings edited and commented on from a quantum perspective. Their confusion about human dating rituals had spawned countless viral compilations. Ambassador Zarakai, now serving as Earth's Minister of Galactic Cultural Exchange, reviewed the latest reports from across former Imperial space. Productivity had actually increased, but not in ways the old Empire would have measured. Innovation, creativity, and satisfaction indices were off. The most surprising development came from the former Imperial security force. They had transformed their surveillance network into the galaxy's largest streaming platform, Imperial View. Their most popular category, security camera footage set to lo-fi beats, tagged as perfectly imperfect geometric vibe. Even the former Imperial bureaucrats had found their calling. Their obsession with documentation and categorization made them excellent content curators and trend analysts. They had just launched a new platform called Regulation Reviews, essentially Yelp for outdated Imperial protocol. The galactic economy, no longer bound by rigid efficiency metrics, had evolved into something the Empire could never have predicted: a thriving creator economy. Former Imperial worlds specialized in different forms of content creation, from quantum meme engineering to multidimensional entertainment experience. As Zarakai prepared for another day of managing Earth's new role as the galaxy's entertainment hub, she received one final report. The last holdout of the old Empire, a remote accounting outpost, had finally fallen to a viral dance challenge. She opened her personal feed and smiled at the top trending post. Former Emperor Vyx'thor attempting to explain Imperial efficiency protocols while playing Getting Over It. The video was tagged Throwback Thursday. The Empire's rigid perfection had been replaced by something far more powerful: the perfectly imperfect chaos of creativity. And somewhere in the quantum realm, the ghost of Imperial protocol past was probably trying to figure out why everyone kept saying LOL. The revolution was complete, and it had amazing engagement metrics.